Okay, so in this first part, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at the callback system and just do some really kind of rudimentary, easy kind of introductory stuff in order to get us started with this. Um, so far with the MotionBuilder setup, all I've done is I've put Python in a place where we can all see it. I've made a script called Callbacks tutorial, that's all it's called, and I've saved it so we're able to run things. Now, yeah, the first thing that we're going to start looking at is doing something, say, on file new, and also how to remove something from file new once we've actually done that. And basically, yeah, we are going to start off with the good old age old imports. So we're going to go from pyfbsdk import star, and that's just going to give us everything that we need for MotionBuilder, really. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to define FB application as an instance. So app is normally what I call it, FB app. And for those people that don't necessarily know this, Control and Spacebar kind of tries to autofill kind of like what you've started typing already. So we're just going to go FB application. We're going to hit enter on that. And we're also going to just run a little bit of a sanity check for ourselves to make sure that that's actually worked. And there we go, we've got FB application as an object. Now, the way that I normally work with this kind of stuff, be it good or bad or whatever, is normally I tell myself if I can get a print statement to work, then normally I can get everything else to work, right? So what we're going to try and achieve by the end of this video is whenever we open a new file, we're going to get a print statement that pops up, and it'll say something like, oh, this is a new file or whatnot. So let's actually go ahead and define what that function is actually going to be for ourselves. So I'm just going to put in def, we'll call this sanity print. And we will need to add something to this a little bit later, but I'm just going to put a print statement in at the moment. Just print, this is a new file. Cool. So that's the thing which is going to be triggered every single time we open up a new file, right? So the next thing that we need to do is we need to start working with the concept of, or we need to start understanding the concept at least, of registering and unregistering this function that we've created to that laundry list of functions that happen when MotionBuilder starts a new file, right? And the way that we actually get to that thing that we need to add to is through app, through FB application, the thing that we have created an instance of. So let's just create very quickly a register function. So we're going to create a register function there, and we're also going to create an unregister. Cool. So inside of this register function, what we actually need to do is we need to append our function sanity print to the laundry list of stuff that MotionBuilder does when it hits a file new or a file close or a file anything. And a kind of a rule of thumb that I found when you're trying to look for these kind of things is if you just type in app, give it a dot at the end, and again, for those seasoned Python scripters out there, MotionBuilder Control and Space at this point would give you a laundry list of things that you can do. But all we're going to type is on with a capital O, and we're going to do the exact same thing. And you can see that we've now got a bunch of stuff down here, which is on file exit, on file merge, on file new. And, looking at all of this list, what we're actually looking for is on file new, right? If we add another dot to the end of that and we hit Control and Space, well, we've got another list of things that we can actually do on file new. And this is where the core of it really boils down to. What we're going to do is we're going to add our function to on file new using register, right? So all that is doing is, yeah, when we hit the register function, it will go to on file new and it will add into the stack of things that it does as MotionBuilder does an on file new. It will add our sanity print in there, meaning that whenever we go file new, we should get a print statement that says, this is a new file. There are a couple of extra things that we need to do here. So whenever we pass in something, say like an adding a function into on file new, it does pass in a couple of arguments into the function that we've created, and those two variables, normally if you see it in any documentation, which isn't documentation, it's just straight code, there's no one necessarily describing this, is a control and an event. We'll go a little bit into these later on, but without having a control and an event inside of our sanity print, this will not work. Essentially, moving forward, when we do things like synchronization events and we look at things like the timeline, the event is normally the thing which has happened, and we can get the plug from that. We can find out what's been clicked in the scene, all this kind of stuff. But for the moment, just understand that we need to have a control and an event variable running into our function. Okay. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to create our unregister. Now, our unregister is, could you believe it? It's going to be pretty much exactly the same as what we've done for our onFileNew there, but as opposed to adding it, we are going to remove it. There it is. And we're going to put sanity print into the remove right there. Now, the unregister, sorry, because the way that we're going to be triggering it in a second does need to have a control and event. But what we can do is we can just put the control to equal none and the event to equal none. We don't care about any of that stuff. We're looking to just flat out unregister what we've actually put in there. Cool. Now, you might think that we're kind of happy to run this now, okay? We could probably just run a register and it will be there. And that is true. It will be there. But I would like a way inside of this for us to unregister that event when I click a certain button, let's say. And because we're in this area of onFileNew, normally or typically what you could do with something like this is you could just, at the same time that you register onFileNew do something, you could register, okay, onFileExit, unregister everything, because then essentially what you're saying is when I close down MotionBuilder, deregister all of this stuff, which is kind of the point that you're probably going to want to do it anyway. But for our purposes, so I'm just not constantly closing MotionBuilder and losing all of this stuff, what I'm going to do is I'm going to register the unregister on file merge. So when we merge in a file, we should lose our print statements. So we're just going to go app.onFileMerge, and we are going to add in our unregister. And there it is. So this kind of is it. This is kind of how we start to register things with MotionBuilder's kind of like, I keep referring to this kind of trickling effect of all the different functions that it has to do when you do a file new. All that we're saying with this is, hey, when I call register, which I will do at the end of this script, I need you to go into register, and whenever you do an onFileNew, after you've done all of your basic stuff, I need you to add in sanity print at the end. So when we do file new, we should get a sanity print, every file new. But the second that I come in and do a file merge, I need you to unregister, and as you can see on our unregister function there, I need you to unregister sanity print from onFileNew. So then when we do a file new after that point, after we've done the merge, we shouldn't get sanity print. We shouldn't get this is a new file, this is a new file, this is a new file, okay? So with that all being said, that's the script right there. Let's give it a run and let's see what happens. So we've ran this. You can see that we've had the chevrons there to show that we've ran it. We've had no errors or anything like that, which is all good. So what we can do now is we can go file new, and we should see this is a new file. Let's try it again. This is a new file. Awesome. Great stuff. What happens if we merge something in now? So if we go to merge, and I'll just merge in a file there. So I think it's a facial file with some animation. There we go. Oh, look at that. We didn't get an extra statement saying this is a new file. And that is because once we've hit that merge, it knows that we've registered unregister on the merge. So unregister gets triggered, and it says, hey, on file new from this point forward, remove sanity print. We don't need it anymore. Thus, if we now go to file new and we hit don't save, we don't get any extra print statements, right? Now, just a bit of a word of warning with this stuff. Let's just say that I run this now and I run it again. What do you think is going to happen? Let me just cancel that for a second. Let me just clear the console. And if we hit new, you can see that we get it twice, right? And not that I've necessarily tried this, but if we do a merge now and we merge in the animation, you can see that it unregisters them, okay? And if we go File, New again, it doesn't come up. Oh, my MotionBuilder just crashed. And that was probably due to the fact that I was registering multiple things and trying to unregister it there at the end multiple times. It's just a word of warning about that stuff, that you can stack up registers like that. You can stack up the same function over and over and over again. So if you find that like you're trying to use this method and out of nowhere you get crashes like this, or you're finding that you're low on memory or things are running slower every single time that you do a file new, it might be because you're not unregistering it properly, okay? But that being said, though, that is the basics of what we're going to be talking about, and one of the examples of the things that we can do. We've got a print statement working on a file open now, which means that you could have a myriad of different things happen on file open. You could have rigs automatically imported. You could have UIs automatically pop up. You could do a lot of things. Anything that you can do normally with MotionBuilder, you can probably kind of stick it in there and get it to do some interesting things whenever you hit File, New. So with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this first part of this basic kind of outline of the callback system and what we can actually do with it. The callback in this particular case being, hey, do a File, New. But once you've done all of that, add something into that stack and return back something for me, which is, in essence, our function here. Yeah, that's everything I've got on this video, so I'll see you in the next one.